Now.
Hello, East Texas, and welcome into Under the Lights. Dan Millay and Jimmy Searfoss with y'all to talk all things
6, 7, 8.
Week 8 of East Texas high school football season. Jimmy, we had a tremendous sight game. We had a tremendous game of the week. Some high-scoring games around. Just another wonderful week of football here in East Texas.
Even my game was pretty good that I was going to.
Even your game?
Even my game, the one that I went to. I went up to Mineola. That game was pretty good, but right as I was leaving, it was getting really interesting. So hopefully we'll see that a little bit later on. But first, I believe, hopefully we'll see how technology treats us tonight. Our game of the week, Robert's up right now. This technology's working. Robert,
there we go.
How's it going down in Van? Looks like things are wrapped up there.
Yeah, they just wrapped up, Jimmy. But this first half, I'm going to tell you, it kind of felt like one of those games where whoever gets the ball last is probably going to win this game. One of those like Kansas City Chiefs versus Buffalo Bills game. Just high-scoring offense. If you told me before this game that both teams would nearly score 70 points combined, I told you you're probably lying. But it was a great game, great first half. Let's get into these highlights here, though. Van, two historic programs meeting in Week 8, undefeated in the district. We pick up in the first quarter after the Vandals hold the Buckeyes to a field goal. Quarterback Raleigh Hinch gets the snap, fakes to give to DeQuavion Williams, and has an open receiver slip past the Buckeyes secondary. That's Case Lovett, the H-back, with the first touchdown of the game. Gilmer's second crack at it, pursuing the kickoff. Zay Taylor in shotgun formation throws a quick slant to Solomon Jackson. He's got nothing but space to run in. He shows his speed, and he'll do it all himself. Buckeyes regain the lead on a big play by the offense. Jackson had himself a big first half. Vandals possession after a lengthy drive. Hinch hands off to DeQuavion Williams, who runs up the seams. Gets perfect blocks from his own line. One man to beat and gets in untouched. Who's going to make a stop? Gilmer again near midfield. Zay Taylor looking for another big play. Steps back, launches it to his receiver, Tracy Haynes, who's got space and clearly makes the grab, nearly running into our cameraman. But Van puts together a quick drive before the half to go up a field goal. Yeah, so this was basically what they say, a tale of two halves. That first half could have been anyone's game. Second half seems like Van made the adjustments and were able to, we talked about all week, is winning the line in the trenches there, being able to have a good running game, and they've mixed up the run and the pass, and also had great games from their key players. We're talking about the quarterback Raleigh Hinch. We're talking about DeQuavion Williams, who both had great games, and that was the key to the success, as well as what we talked about all week, limiting the turnovers. No turnovers for Van in this game. So, that's basically your recipe for success. They were able to limit Gilmer's scoring in the second half and come out winning by 10 here. Final score 48-38. What a game, though. For my first game of the week, couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah, we couldn't ask for anything better.
No,
Robert,
sure.
That was great. Appreciate you, big man, out in Van, Texas. We'll hear again from him later on tonight.
Yep.
That Gilmer game, Gilmer making some, maybe not sitting at the top of that district, but they'll likely make the playoffs, so they're going to have a tougher road to get there.
Yeah.
One that will lead to Carthage early on. So that's kind of what you want to avoid. It's what you kind of want to avoid there.
If you can, if possible.
Van taking this one right now.
But man, we got to talk about our kickoff show sight game here in a little bit. All right, we got it. Our kickoff show game, top 3 showdown between a couple powerhouses. Undefeated Lindale hosting Kilgore. First quarter, Bulldogs going to work. Quarterback Kason Brooks slings a pass to Jacalen Sheffield for the first down. Kilgore moving the chain, setting things up for this pass to Dre Sanders. Gets past a couple defenders, and he is going to make it all the way into the end zone, tiptoeing down that sideline. Kilgore jumps ahead 7-0. Eagles would not score on their possession, so Bulldogs get back to it. This time Brooks hands it off to Rashawn Williams, who flies down the sideline before eventually, after evading a couple tackles, eventually being forced out of bounds. That put Kilgore in striking distance again, and check out this catch from Tyler Jonigan. Stretches all the way out to haul it in. Start of the second quarter now, so we're going to switch sides, but Rashawn Williams stays the same, pushing his way into the end zone. I think both teams waiting for the call. Officials rule it a touchdown, which really could have gone either way. Coach Cochran asking for an explanation there, but either way, Bulldogs lead at 14-0 a couple minutes into the second quarter. And we're going to check in on the final score of that game in a little bit. It was 14-6 as I was leaving. Lindale scored as I was leaving. Of course, it was like, okay, he couldn't have done that 5 minutes minutes ago. But it is what it is.
Hey, Tywin, do we have this long view? Oh, hold on. We got final score. 42-23. Kilgore takes, it's not over yet. They're in the fourth. Kilgore up big time, though, over at the Lindale Eagles. Do we give them the state championship now, or should we wait a little bit longer? So we were going to take our way down to Longview, but we'll have that a little bit later on. Let's see if we have anything going on our highlight situation. We are having some technical difficulties. It's all about, being clear with our viewers here, but we got the Maybank Chapel Hill score things here. That's Malik Brown catching the ball downfield beyond the sidelines there. A little bit later on, Lemuel Stinson takes this one in for Chapel Hill. Then later on, a little bit down the line, Marcion Blaylock, we've heard that name a few times.
Couple
8,000
hundred
times. This kid has over 1,000 receiving yards in just the first 7 games of the season. Can you believe that? That's D1 level production for a player that hasn't got the D1 level offers yet. 75-16, that's a pretty good day for your offense. It's hard to top that one.
Hard to top that one. Hard to top a 75 bomb out of the Chapel Hill Bulldogs. A little concerned about them after a loss last week, but
yeah, they're bouncing back.
Yeah.
They're in an interesting position right now because right now they're currently 5th place in the district, right? So they're competing with Pine Tree and Henderson. So that's why that game is so big for us tonight. You're going to see where those teams stack up because someone's going to get their second loss there. Right. And if Chapel Hill wins tonight, they're right back in that that 4th place spot for the playoffs, so they can take that last shot.
If they can hang on to that lead.
If they can hang on. Yeah, it's still going. We've seen crazy things.
It's not over till it's over, folks. But Jimmy, time for your absolute favorite part of the show.
Oh yeah,
we got to go to Brendan Gurley with a late news check-in. Here we go.
Dan and Jimmy, a triple murder suspect is in the hospital after crashing into a Buc-ee's in Ennis before turning a gun on himself. This all started with a fatal triple shooting at a Henderson County home. This all happened around 2:30 in the morning. Deputies found 5 people that were shot in Maybank's Cedar Creek Cove subdivision. 1 man and 2 women did not make it. 2 other men remain in the hospital tonight. And then the second part of this story, police say the suspect in this case, identified as 29-year-old Christopher Kyle Reed, drove to the Buc-ee's in Ennis, where he drove into the store through the glass doors, pinning a woman against a store display. Police tell us that's when Reed turned the gun on himself. At last report, he was still alive. The woman who was injured is expected to survive. If you love a good deal and love giving back, we've got the perfect weekend plan for you. The Salvation Army's Women's Auxiliary is starting their big fall sale. It's happening again tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 715 North Spring Avenue. And get this, there are 3 full buildings packed with everything from designer clothes to handbags to furniture, tools, toys, books, and so much more. The best part, every dollar you spend goes right back into helping people in our community through the Salvation Army's local programs, helping kids, adults, and families year-round.
We are on a mission to help, and it's through sales like this that really help our community and get the people excited about not only getting great deals, but who they're helping. The money that we make stays in our community. It stays in Tyler, and it helps children, adults, families in need. So it is so near and dear to our heart.
And again, that event is happening again tomorrow from 9 to 2. Reporting in the studio, I'm Brennan Gurley.
Brennan Gurley, thank you so very much for that those late news headlines.
Yeah, a lot of breaking news
Tremendous
today. A lot of breaking news.
Crazy news day, bit of a crazy news day.
I'm glad we can kind of be a little bit of a break, give some levity on a dark day like this.
Hopefully.
But we'll talk a little bit about Kilgore. Kilgore putting up a lot of offense in this game against a very tough defense, which tells me a few things. That offense may be starting to click. I was talking about it a little bit on social media about how I really believe in this Kilgore team. And what the things I brought up was the offense is just something that hasn't exactly clicked for them yet. They've been close to breaking through, and they have so much talent, and we've seen that. But it looks like tonight they finally maybe figured some things out against a very good defense.
Yep.
And they also said in those comment sections, all roads lead to Salina. Salina is always a powerhouse team.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a rematch of last year's state championship.
That would be something.
This year. That would be surely something.
Looking into the crystal ball. All right,
and it would go differently, I think, personally.
We'll have to wait and see. But, folks, we got to take our first break here. We'll see y'all in a couple minutes. Hey everybody, welcome back into Under the Lights. Dan Millay and Jimmy Searfoss with y'all battling through some technical difficulties. But I think this next block's going to go well. I have a good feeling about it.
Well, we're here. That's what's
What
going
else
to go
could you
well.
ask
It's
for?
gonna go.
But Jimmy, you had a pretty tremendous player of the week this week in Zion Alexander.
Yeah, Zion Alexander had himself a good time, and it's been a lot of change going on, but hey, no one rolls with the punches quite like this kid.
CBS19 Sports Player of the Week, sponsored by East Texas Professional Credit Union.
Not everybody likes change, but for White House's Zion Alexander, it's done nothing but help him out. You see, he started his career at Tyler Legacy, and it just wasn't working out for him, so he came to White House, where he's been one of their better athletes, and then change struck again when they started playing this running back at receiver.
He's an explosive player, and we wanted to try to get him the football a little bit and get him in space and see what he could go do. We knew he could do that stuff.
And that switch led to over 100 receiving yards and just under 100 yards on the ground to go alongside 3 touchdowns and the first White House district win of the season over Jacksonville. Alexander even got mixed in on defense too. So if you ask Zion what position he plays,
well, I don't go out as a receiver, running back. I'm just a football player. Put me everywhere and I can make a play. You put me on lineman, I can block. I'll make a play.
Because in this kid's senior year, it's all about picking up an offer. But don't let the Texas gloves confuse you on where Alexander wants to spend his next 4 years.
Like my dream school, where I think I can, play at, where I know I can play and it fit for my playing style is SMU. So they got a lot of fast guys. They got guys coming from East Texas like Darren McFall. And when I was young, I looked up to him because he's a very speed guy and very versatile. So I kind of matched that to my game as well.
And he's shown everyone he can be versatile too, anywhere on the field. So if Zion can keep expecting his positions to change, but with the production he's been able to put up with it, I'm sure.
Yep. Hey everybody, welcome back.
Now.
So it is. Dan Millay and Jimmy Searfoss with y'all. We're having some video issues.
With the technical difficulties they're having tonight, I'm surprised we're under any lights.
That's a good point. But we're still
I mean?
here. We hope that y'all are too. We have scores for y'all, so
We do.
that's good. That's something. We can at least tell you where every game is at the current time. We're going to start out showing y'all the score, not the highlights, the score for White House at Nacogdoches. Jimmy, I talked about. Okay, wow, all right.
Look at
well,
that.
That's a little closer than I would have expected. So Nac's up 27-24. But Jimmy, I talked talked about them earlier in the week. They're 5-1 coming into this game. They haven't won 5 games since 2020, and they've only had 2 seasons at or above 500 since I think 2009. So this is the best year in a long time for Nacogdoches, and the Dragons seem like they could be pushing things out and heading towards a 6-1 start. Really impressive.
First of all, I do want to shout out our Alan Casper making the trip down there. He made the trip to also center, which is a score we'll get there later on tonight. But Nacogdoches, it's a 5-1. Yes, that is correct. I don't want to take anything from that. It is one of the softer 5-1s that we've seen.
A ton of good teams.
So this is a school that, maybe a little bit more of a tough. They're coming off of a win, White House, so it is a little bit closer of a game. But this would be a good win for them. And first of all, I've always wanted to go down to Nacogdoches for a game, so I'm a little bit jealous. They have a dragon there.
I want to see the dragon.
It blows, it allegedly breathes fire. I think it's steam with like a color, like a light on there, but it's pretty good. I hear it's pretty cool. I went down there, it was one of my first stories last year. So it looks like we're going to Henderson next. We got Pine Tree and Henderson. We talked a little bit about the implications for this one. Looks like Pine Tree's taking control here. So if this plays out, Henderson will drop down to 2 wins, so they will be hanging around that 4-5 spot. Or 2 losses, excuse me. That 4-5 spot, battling for that last in the playoffs as we get towards the end of the season. And really not a lot of tough or easy games for them left on that schedule. Henderson kind of in that same position last year. Battling it for that last place.
Pine Tree was one of my favorite teams to cover last year just because they got out and had such a great year, a year that not a lot of people expected. And I remember Coach Jason Bachman kind of telling me, we're not a traditional East Texas powerhouse that's been, the team for however many years, like, so many great traditions out here, but they want to become that. Got out to a slow start this year, but that's a really good win over a really good Henderson team.
For sure. A growing Henderson team under Ricky Meeks for the very first year. I mean, back for the very first year. But if you look at that Pine Tree team, they passed the eye test. They got some big, talented guys out there. So I'm not as surprised as maybe anyone else. Maybe they're building off this last season. Looks like afterwards we got Tatum at Gladewater. This is an interesting score here. Looks like Gladewater took care of business over Tatum. Gladewater just kind of working their way through everybody. Like quietly really climbing up that Fab 15. Not really a team that we looked at a ton because, last year
they've caught our attention.
Yes, they've caught our attention. They were just okay last year. Just okay. They get a new coach in there, and it looks like he's immediately taking the reins. He's been around East Texas for a long time. Mr. Lewis?
Jermaine Lewis.
Jermaine Lewis, yes. Lewis coming in there and making things happen for Gladewater. And like I said, that game was a little bit of a revenge game for them. Last year, I was there for Ja'Cory Bradley's walk-off touchdown, taking it all the way into the end zone from, I think, like the 40-yard line. So it was a great game. I was really excited for it. Looks like Gladewater really got their get back there. We previewed that one earlier. Ariana Arid was out there. We have another one, Longview at Tyler Legacy, right here in the Rose City. How about that?
Wow, okay.
Longview taking this one, excuse me for getting a little ahead of myself.
It ain't over.
Bold to say that they were probably going to win this game, 56-13. This game was closer than you thought for a little bit. It was like that first half was a little bit closer. Looks like Longview kind of caught their stride there. They were, I think, coming off of 3 straight losses. They had a bye week, break that all up. And I remember everyone was flipping out last year. Well, Longview lost back-to-back games.
That was such a big story last year. Everybody was talking about that.
Back-to-back-to-back games. Not a peep. I didn't hear nothing.
Yeah.
But I think maybe expectations were a little bit different.
Expectations were a little bit different. Also, the story was kind of Coach King more so than exactly what was going on the field. Obviously, Coach King seems to be doing better, which is wonderful, and we're obviously happy to hear that. And on the field, they're doing better, too.
Yeah, and this is the 66th matchup of those two teams. That's older than both of us.
Yes, can confirm. Both of us combined.
Yeah, Longview's got a good, solid hold on that lead. Look, we'll have more scores for you. Some big movers coming up. Stick around after the break for our podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
Texas.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for sticking with us here on Under the Lights on CBS 19. Dan Malay and Jimmy Searfoss will be your guides here on this tumultuous journey that we're all on together, but it's a fun journey. Thank you.
That's a good word. I couldn't
Thank
spell
you.
it. Well, this part of the show is normally when you hit our big movers, but obviously we can't have graphics, so let's talk about the big movers for the Fab 15.
You can't even really see it. If only we had like a Sharpie.
I
It says
promise.
big movers.
It says big movers
It says
on
big
it. It's
movers.
way,
You'll have
it
to
was
believe
cooler
us.
in my head.
You'll have
But
to believe
this is
us.
the part where we talk about some of the teams that may be moving up and down to that Fab 15 poll. Off the top, I wanted to talk a little bit about Pine Tree.
Sure.
Pine Tree's hanging around in one of the toughest districts in 4A. I don't remember seeing them on that Fab 15 list.
No, they haven't. I mean, like we talked about, they got out to that slow start. I think preseason they were middle of the pack maybe, but after their slow start, they kind of dropped off. But maybe they'll be back on.
And Henderson is a quality win. That's a good football team. They got some real talent on that team. Like they said, they're growing. But I do like that, and I think that they have the pieces. They can start coming together like they did last year to really make some noise, especially if they just sneak in the playoffs. Go a few rounds deep.
Yeah, I was a little surprised, honestly, to see the gap in that game between Pine Tree and Henderson. The way Henderson was able to hang tough with Kilgore for at least a little bit. What was that, last week, a couple weeks ago? It didn't end up being a super close game, but they looked better than maybe people expected them to look. They hung in long enough, maybe longer than people expected. So I was a little surprised to see that gap. I don't know if that's more Henderson not rising to the task tonight, or if Pine Tree's really figuring things out, or.
That is something that I have noticed a little bit from those Henderson teams. They'll start off really strong, but then sometimes just lose the gas. That can come from depth. That's also pretty late in the season. Just conditioning is because everyone's warned, everyone's conditioned, or like struggling with their conditioning. I am looking at the schedule right now for the Pine Tree team, and it's not going to get easy till ever. Chapel Hill, Lindale, and Palestine. And even Palestine, we've seen hang with Chapel Hill for a little bit. So they'll have a tough end of the season, but if they can sneak one of those wins, they can sneak in and win one of those, they'll be hanging real well there.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, we think the weather's working, so we're going to throw it over to Chief Meteorologist Brett Anthony with a check on the weather.
Hi, East Texas. Saturday is a weather impact alert. We have gusty thunderstorms in the forecast. Some of these could be strong, maybe severe. Our main time frame is the afternoon into the early evening. Let's watch out for scattered power outages and brief damaging wind gusts. Here's future Skycast starting this off mid-morning tomorrow, but staying dry until noon when some scattered showers pop up. Then we start to see the thunderstorms becoming more intense as we head into the afternoon. By mid-afternoon, we're looking at the potential for a couple of strong pockets of some gusty winds, maybe some hail as these thunderstorms continue to move across the area through early evening, then eventually moving on out as we head into the overnight hours into early Sunday morning. And by the way, much cooler on Sunday. Here's your Bailiff Scott White Texas Spot and Joint Hospital 10-day forecast. Weather impact alert. Then again, Saturday, 80% chance for scattered showers, thunderstorms. Sunny, cooler Sunday and breezy with a north wind at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Warmer Monday, cooler temperatures arrive Tuesday and Wednesday.
Welcome back. This is one that I wanted specifically. This is a very big rivalry game in the private school community, especially right here in Tyler, Texas. Bishop Gorman versus All Saints. This is a score I've been really interested to see. All Saints really hanging with them there. Actually, it's 12. 12's, I did this last time. 49 is not a multiple of 12. I got to stop trying to do math.
It's close.
That's why I read
48.
for a living. Looks like All Saints is running away with this one. Hey, man, I went to that All Saints team practice a few weeks ago. That team is night and day from last year. And they went to the playoffs last year. They made some noise last year. Night and day.
That was
Way
everything
better.
Emerson Hadnot had told us as well. So
I'm pretty sure
straight from the source.
we had a few highlights in there of him. So
I'm sure. You'll have to take us on our word for that one.
promise.
All right, we got Commerce at Mineola. Jimmy, you shot this game.
I did. Looks like Commerce ran away with
Allegedly.
it. Commerce is 2-0 in district. Looks like they're going to be 3-0 after this. Mineola still looking for that first district win. This is the district that we saw yesterday also as well in our CBS 19 stream game of the week. Commerce looking to, that's going to be an interesting one with Malakoff because Malakoff looked really good yesterday. Given they were facing a USIS team that maybe isn't the top dog in that that division, that district. But that's going to be an interesting one because you know what? I think Commerce, I wasn't super impressed with what I saw from them tonight. I think Malakoff's going to give them a real run and maybe climb up a little bit in that district rankings from there.
Right, and we talked about Malakoff, obviously, back-to-back 15-0 seasons. They lost in the state championship last year, but, you know, we kind of talked about they graduated a lot of the guys that were on that team. They got out to a slow start themselves. They were 3-3 coming into last night, but like you said, they looked really good last night, so perhaps they're getting onto the right track. You know, no time like the present. We're in the third to last week of the regular season, but, you know, you still got 3 weeks to play with, including tonight. But I think we got a couple more scores to look at.
Yeah, we got Troop and New Diana. How about that? Troop
Here we go.
playing Big Boss this
Oh,
year,
wow.
62-31, doubling them up exactly. I know that number.
There you
I know
go.
That.
Yeah.
Hey, 31 times 2, baby. 62. Troop number 3 on our Fab 15 list of the top teams. New Diana still building. They're figuring their way out. They're still hanging around 500 this year. It's kind of looking like that's how the season is going. At this point in the year, you are who you are, really.
Yeah.
How much can you grow, you know, at this point in the season? So it looks like Troop's running away with this one as of right now. Barring a miracle comeback.
It ain't over.
Onside kick, touchdown,
over.
onside kick, touchdown, onside kick, and touchdown.
It's possible.
Hey,
Anything's
this was a
possible.
sneaky game that I was
Yeah.
looking at right now. Because Athens is no pushover team. Like, Carthage is Carthage, don't get me wrong. Athens, no pushover themselves. They're number 9 on our Fab 15 list. How about this? Let's see that score.
Wow.
What did I say? No pushover team
Wow.
here. Carthage getting their little run for their money here. I mean, it is a two-story game, but man, that's one that I'm really excited to see the highlights from. It sounds like we might have that later on. Athens versus Carthage. They're having that big tailgate. Right now. Now it's 59-54. Sorry,
54-49.
54-49. Sorry, we're getting a new score update. So they're really pulling ahead. Carthage getting a run for their money right now.
That's amazing.
You love to see it, man. You love to see things get thrown up right when you think you figured it all out.
Has Carthage even played a close game this year? I mean, what was...
Kilgore gave them a good run for their money. That's about it. Nobody's been able to go all 4 quarters.
Game? I can't remember.
I don't
week 1. I can't remember.
know. I
That
think it was
a lifetime ago.
21-28, I want to say.
Okay.
I can pull that up right now, actually. I have
That's
it right
a
in front of me.
shootout,
It was
though.
21-10. Sorry. Yeah, that is
Okay, wow,
a
so
shootout.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's impressive. To be within 1 touchdown of Carthage, that's basically a win in itself.
Forget that. They could win that game.
Yeah.
That game wasn't over. They just scored again. What if they got the onside kick? You know, that one is going to be one we're going to have to come back to. And hey, you know what? Carthage needed this. Carthage needed this really, really, really bad. Because you can't go into the playoffs just thinking you're going to run over everybody.
Yeah.
You got to have some adversity. You got to at least have your guys dig deep at some point in the season just to know that they got it in the basement.
Yeah.
You know, and that they can reach down back there and then fight their way through a ball game. And they really haven't had a ton of that all year long.
That's what I'm saying. I think this is the closest game that we've seen them play.
Yeah, it's really not by the fact that it's more than 14,
Right.
14 points.
Yeah.
You know, Carthage hasn't given up more than 14 to anybody since Chapel Hill. That was about a month ago.
Pretty impressive. Yeah, really impressive performance from Athens. All right, as we get close to the end of the show, we got to talk future plans, as in where we're going to be next week for our Under the Lights kickoff show at 6:30. Folks, we are heading to Gilmer, and they're taking on Pleasant Grove. It's the Buckeyes versus the Hawks in Buckeye Country. You can catch us live next Friday at Jeff Traylor Stadium at 6:30 for our Under the Lights kickoff show. But folks, that's all the time we have here at 10. Make sure to come on back at 10:35. We're going to have highlights, I promise. We will.
Download the app. Maybe.
Texas, and welcome into Under the Lights Late Night Edition. Dan Millay and Jimmy Searfoss with y'all. Folks, we appreciate you sticking with us on our troublesome night.
We do appreciate it.
It's been a trip.
This is why everyone deserves a second chance, because here on our second show of the night, we got some highlights for right now.
Knock on all the wood around you, folks. All you can find, knock on.
We'll take it up to Van and Gilmer, though. These were two historic programs meeting under in Week 8, undefeated in district. Pick it up in the first quarter because the Van Vandals are going to hold the Buckeyes to a field goal. Vandal quarterback Raleigh Hinch gets the snap, fakes this one to Quavion Williams. He's going to take this one right past the Buckeye secondary, in there for the touchdown. And that's the first touchdown of the game. Zay Taylor, though, gets out of the shotgun formation, throws a quick slant to Solomon Jackson. Nothing but space ahead of this guy. Look at those white leggings run, baby. It's like a streak going across the field. They answer right back. Jacks up a big-time first half. Vandals possession after a lengthy drive. Hitch hands it off to Quavion Williams, who just runs up the seams. He gets a perfect block from his own line, beats his man, untouched. Nobody makes that stop. Gilmer again here. Mr. Taylor looking for another big play. Nobody throws a deep ball like this kid in East Texas. Tracy Haynes got a ton of space, makes the clean grab. We got a freaking shootout here early on in this one. Let's see that final score, 48-38. Van takes this one over Gilmer. I want to say I picked Van to win this game.
You did.
I did pick Van to win this game. I want some props there.
Yeah.
Robert De La Garza is out there, and we are still a bit of a victim of technical difficulties. I'm not sure if we have the interview that he had. But
I don't know.
You know who we do
I don't
have?
think so.
You know who we do have? We have Robert De La Garza, and that's all that matters to us. The lights are still on there. I'm a little surprised, Robert. Tell me about the interview that you had. Tell me about what went down.
Yeah, Jimmy, they are, Week 8 of Under the Lights Game of the Week is coming to an end. And, they kept those lights on just for me. I'm the only one out here, just kind of first one to show up, last one to leave. That's kind of how it is with CBS19. We grind harder. But as we mentioned, this was a tale of two halves. This first quarter, as you saw, if you like high-scoring games, this is the game to watch. I do have to issue a correction. As you mentioned, we're not really math gurus here. We can't do simple math. So these teams nearly scored 90 points. I said 70 earlier. I was shy about 20 points, so nearly 90 points. But second half, overall, Vandals were able to limit the Buckeyes to just 2 touchdowns in the second half, and that last one just coming in the fourth quarter in garbage time, really. And so I interviewed Quavion Williams. He was a key player in this game and he just talked about that this was a dogfight from the end out, and then they just kept fighting. And that kind of goes to their motto. They are fight and family, and they just pride themselves on fighting every down. They said second half, they just played harder. They played faster, just kind of outwore Gilmer in the second half and just never took their foot off the pedal. They still put up some big points in that second half. So, that's how it is. We did talk about this game being won in the trenches. Quavion Williams had a great game on the ground. So did Raleigh Hinch, the quarterback. He was able to escape the pocket, get some good pass protection, as well as move his way out of the pocket and throw downfield. They were just moving on all cylinders whenever it comes to running the ball, passing the ball, as well as blocking. And on the defensive side, like we mentioned, holding Gilmer to 2 touchdowns in the second half. That's a recipe for success there for Van, and that puts them 2-0 in this district. Now moving towards the top, this is a big win. We talked about how this was a playoff atmosphere all week long, and they did not disappoint us, that's for sure. But back to you guys, Dan, Jimmy.
Robert, man, appreciate that. And Van was one of my favorite teams to cover last year as well, because they had the Moffitt trio. They had Jared at coach, they had Jackson and Austin, both on the offensive side of the football. Complete overhaul. They're gone, but obviously they haven't missed a beat. The Vandals are still doing their thing and beating the Gilmer team, which I did pick in our kickoff show.
Dan,
what's that?
You did Game of the Week. I did Game of the Week. We all know the feeling of having the guy keep the lights on for us.
Yep.
They are not happy with us. They hate it. They hate us. We just 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes till we get this shot. Just 5 minutes till we get this shot. Dan, though, let's talk about that sight game.
Let's do it.
We have the highlights.
I think we do. Here we go. Kickoff show, sight game, a top 3 showdown between a couple powerhouses. Undefeated Lindale hosting Kilgore. Captains meeting at midfield. First quarter, Bulldogs going to work. Quarterback Kason Brooks slings a pass to Jacqueline Sheffield for the first down. Kilgore is moving the chain, setting things up for this pass to Dre Sanders, who gets past some defenders, tiptoes down the sideline, stays in bounds for the touchdown. Kilgore leads it 7-0 early on. Eagles would not score on their next possession, so Bulldogs get back at it. This time Brooks hands it off to Rashawn Williams, who flies down the sidelines. Looked like he might have been able to break away and find the end zone, but eventually gets dragged out of bounds right there. But that put Kilgore in striking distance again. And now check out this catch from Tyler Jonigan. Stretches all the way out to haul that one in. Had to use the fingertips there. Start of the second quarter, so we switch sides. Rashawn Williams stays the same. Pushing his way into the end zone, question mark. Both teams were waiting for the call. Officials ruled it a touchdown. Could have gone either way. Coach Cochran pleading his case, but either way, Bulldogs led it 14-0 at that point. And, well, they went on to continue to lead. They did their thing tonight. They won 49-29 over Lindale.
Yeah, no one's beating those guys till December and late December. That's my pick for the state champs. All right, let's go up the road. Longview taking the first trip out west to the City of Roses. They do battle with Tyler Legacy. Start of the second quarter. Lobos already leading 2013. The add to the lead right here. Trey Hamilton sailing it to the corner of the end zone. Big-time receiver Jaden Herndon in stride for the score. Sophomore. That kid's just a sophomore. Tyler Legacy putting a drive together here, looking to convert on fourth down. Not gonna happen. Mr. Carter wraps up the receiver before he can make the line to gain. Red Raiders turn it over on downs here. Big time stop for the Lobos. Longview driving again. Here's Hamilton's pass. It's going to get tipped. It falls right into the hands of Caden and Graves. You love when a happy accident takes place. Cuts back, speeds up ahead, ends up picking up to the 10-yard line. Now they're knocking on the door. You can see the umpires in the way. Out of the way, ref. Hand it off to McCaden Frazier, the big dog. McCaden Frazier. You know, he's huge. He's big as Derrick Henry. We talked about him earlier on. Longview pads onto that lead in the first half. Tyler Lacey looks like they might have been a little outmatched in this one. Let's go to check that final score here. 63-20. Longview kind of getting their way to the end of the season. They started off real hot. Young team, though. Young team tend to happen a little bit with the young guys like that.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to stay in the Rose City. We're in Chapel Hill now. They're hosting Maybank. We're seeing Malik Brown with the big-time catch right here for the first down and a whole lot more. And then here we go. We got a touchdown for the Bulldogs. This is Lemuel Stinson on this play. Jimmy, I was in Lindale, obviously, tonight, and they were giving updates over the loudspeaker. And at one point, I think it was like 28-0 in the first quarter, and the entire stadium kind of said, huh? Wow. But that last touchdown was to Marcion Blaylock right there as we check on the final score. 75-16. Chapel Hill did their thing tonight.
Yeah, Chapel Hill 75 is a lot bigger than 16, Dan.
Can confirm.
Big number guy, us. Corey Harper tackles Rashad Hofford here. Sorry, whoa. Look at that. Henderson versus Pine Tree. Sorry. That's who's playing on our screen here. Here's the kickoff, actually, I think I have the wrong script in front of me right now. But this is that Pine Tree versus Henderson game that's been taking place here. Henderson won this one. Pine Tree won this one 49-21. Big time win for that district there ahead.
All right, well, we're still in town. We're still in Tyler. This is a rivalry game. All Saints, where they squared off against Bishop Gorman tonight to see who would be the kings of the loop. Early on, quarterback Manny Miser swings it out quickly to Sawyer Busk, and he loses the football. Bishop Gorman comes away with it, and right off the bat, Crusaders are in business. Very next play, you won't believe this, it's the Crusaders coughing it up themselves. This time Sawyer Busk, who just had the fumble, scoops up the pigskin and takes it all the way home. How about that for redemption? Trojans end up striking first. How about it, folks? PAT was no good, though, so it's 6-0 after that play. Later on, Bishop Gorman with the response. Eli Sarret letting it rip to Jack Cohn, and he pulls it in, slips a tackle, and he makes his way into the promised land and does a little dancey dance after into the second quarter now. All Saints sniffing the end zone. Quarterback Manny Miser looks like he's going to tuck it and run, but instead he hits Emerson Hadnot, former player of the week, takes it in no problem. Trojans tried for two and converted, so they're up 14-6 with a couple minutes left in the first half, and then they would just keep on rolling, and they are, All Saints, they are the kings of the loop. 49-12 over Bishop Gorman.
Love a little razzle-dazzle there.
Love a little
fun football being played.
Absolutely.
Hey, that's a great one. Big time. Yeah, a little bit of that. Hey, we'll have more for you after the break. We'll see you in a second.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back to Under the Lights Late Night Edition here on CBS 19 Plus. Thank you again for sticking with us tonight. We talked about some of these scores earlier at 10, 10, 15, so on and so forth, but we actually have the highlights now. Again, if you got any wood around you, go ahead and knock on it for us. But we're gonna run a troop at New Diana here. So let's see what we got. All right, we're going to pick things up in the second quarter. We got him. New Diana hosting the Troop Tigers. DeJuan Johnson is going to fake the handoff here and throw it deep to Aiden Hamilton, who's going to just make his way into the end zone. Number 99, showing off the speed, rumbling into the end zone.
I don't want to tackle him.
Absolutely love it. Josh Childress here. He hands it off to Brett Wells, who's going to wind up just short of the end zone. Tigers almost make their way there. This time, Josh Childress keeps it and does a deep dive straight into the end zone, and that is indeed a Tiger touchdown. Eagles on this play, though. DeJuan Johnson getting a little bit of pressure, and here comes some more pressure. He's sacked by A.J. Dewberry, forcing a turnover. Later on, Josh Childress, once again, he's going to search. He's going to see what he's got. He's going to survey his options before eventually throwing it deep downtown to Cameron Holly in the end zone. Big-time catch for Holly, big-time play for Troop. They're up 55-31 at the end of the half, and as we saw earlier, it didn't get a whole lot better for New Diana after that. Troop wins it 69-31.
No second half points for New Diana. How about that defense over in Troop? All right, take me out Pleasant Grove and Spring Hill, first quarter. PG quarterback Roland Ritchie. How about this guy? Rolls out in the pink numbers, launches this one downfield. Jamarian Richardson, he's just going to run this one all the way. Oh, very close. Close. What do they say? No cigar? Next play, quarterback pass to Colt Yancey. How about this? Another Pleasant Grove touchdown, 14-0. Pleasant Grove takes an early lead in this one with the cool lights and the cool pink letters there. Hawks are going to get to this punt. It's a little bit of a rough snap, and the kick is even rougher. How about that? That one's going to be great field position for Pleasant Grove, and this one's just going to go find Mr. Scales in the end zone. Things just keep piling on for Pleasant Grove. They jump out early and don't allow a single point. Spring Hill Panthers don't lay eggs, but the football team just did. Pleasant Grove takes this one 63-0.
This is like a new discovery in nature. Somebody should check on that. Do Panthers lay eggs?
Platypi do.
Platypi do.
Pussies?
That's a good point. Well, in the first quarter, we got Dangerfield hooks here. Dangerfield quarterback Isaiah Parker passes to Rain Wallace, who runs into the end zone for a touchdown. It's 7-6 Dangerfield after that play. And now a few plays later on, Parker will pass the ball once again to Wallace. Rinse and repeat. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Wow, how about that catch, too? All right, yeah, that'll play. It's 14-6. Dangerfield. There's the scoreboard for proof in case you thought we were lying. Hooks is Ripken Birdwell, hands the ball off here to Jasper Crane, who runs deep, far, and long into the end zone for a touchdown. And that'll be a score for Dangerfield, 14-12. Wow!
Whoa!
Talk about a shootout, folks. Dangerfield is winning that one. It's not over yet. It's not over yet, but they're beating Hooks 76-53.
Dangerfield, one of the odder teams that we've seen, lose their first three, win the next four. If they win this one, it'd be the next 5 in a row. How about a team that gets hot? Dangerfield, hey, for the Texas High, though, they were at home tonight against Mount Pleasant. How about 3-0? Cameron Ryder finds Tredarian Ball. The Oregon commit has the score there. It's 7-3 later on in the first. Tigers punting it away. This one's going to bounce off the foot of the returner. No. That's a live ball, people. Tigers pounce. Texas High is in business. Back in the red zone. They draw it up, and it works. Love when that happens. Love when that happens.
That's easy to goal.
They score another touchdown. Yeah, they're going to want to do that a lot there, Dan. Mount Pleasant didn't go away easily. Brandon McCoo kind of gets lost in the big bodies, and the line breaks free. That's really nice. He can start jogging at this point. Big time touchdown run to slash that lead. 15-21. Texas High takes this one. Big time game there because I believe Mount Pleasant was undefeated in that district. This one kind of separates Texas High from everyone else.
I wonder if Pleasant Grove maybe swapped with Texas High in Mark Fab 15.
That would be interesting. That would be. And Texas High dropped one earlier, I believe, that kind of made everyone drop down a little bit.
Yeah.
Pleasant Grove, yeah, that could be an interesting
I think Pleasant Grove's 6 right now, 5 or 6.
Something.
Anyway, we're going to, what do we got? Timpson at Shelbyville. This is from last night's Breast Cancer Awareness Night. Timpson quarterback is going to keep it himself here. Into the red zone they go, and a little later on he'll hand it off to LaJordan McAllister for the Bears touchdown. And we're going to take a quick look at the scoreboard here.
Very hazy.
It's very hazy.
Very hazy.
My
That's Deep East
word.
Texas. I will say it was a little humid last night. We almost went to that game.
We almost went to that game.
We almost went to that
They didn't want us there. Shelbyville quarterback throws to his receiver, but it's picked off by number 4. Timpson is going to take it all the way. He's bobbing and weaving. Nobody's touching this guy. Look at him go.
Look at that.
Look, what, Jimmy, he's got a lot of what? Green grass ahead of him?
He does.
Is that
How
what that
many
is?
yards is that? Wasn't that was in the red zone, right?
I think so.
So that's at least.
I
hate to see that.
Flag on the play.
Get that laundry off the field.
All right, I guess it didn't matter because Shelbyville gets the ball back closer to the red zone, and he converts for the touchdown as they take the lead. Back and forth game here. Let's check out the script. Shelbyville takes it 17-14.
Timpson led the district. Shelbyville was at the bottom. This is a huge upset in Shelbyville.
Anything can happen any given week, folks.
Any given Thursday night, apparently. Hey, that was nearly our stream game of the week. We had to change plans last second. Our stream game of the week did not go that exciting, but we did have it. It was Malakoff facing off against Eustis in Eustis, which great facilities. It was a great place to be. Take a look.
Jerry and Hall with a big play there. Oh,
It looks like that one up and over into the end zone. Goes over a man for 6. Here, the shadow of the E. Quarterback is hit behind the line of scrimmage. He can't get it off. Huge sack there for the Bulldogs. That's number 12, Colton Lawson. Here's the snap. Perfect. Kick.
great punt.
Great punt. Has everyone going backwards.
Great bounce.
Big time Bulldog bounces. That'll be fielded around the 25. Huge pickup from the Malakoff returner.
Okay.
And he's just running free right now.
He's got space.
He's got a ton of space. He's got a clear path to the end zone. Purple shirts wearing out. And he's going to take it all the way
Jerry
in.
on Hall.
Bulldogs don't lay eggs either. 56-0. Malakoff takes this one. Dan, can I do this next one? I want to talk about Carthage. I like this. This game seems super exciting.
I wanted to talk about Carthage.
Oh, yeah,
sure,
Dan, go ahead. Go ahead. Dan, you do it.
Okay, somebody's got to do it. Carthage. All right, they're taking the field. Here they come. Carthage's Jet Serrata's going to hand it off here to KJ Edwards, breaking not one, not two, but 3 tackles on his way to the end zone. Folks, this kid can play.
Did you see his footwork there? How did he stay on his feet?
I'm not sure what was better, the footwork on the run or the dance afterwards. All right, this time Athens quarterback David Richardson hits Julius Brewer, but he's taken down by Quebec. And this time David Richardson hits Jaquelis Rocco. We're moving fast here, taken down by Trey Gant. Jabari Taylor runs it in for the Athens touchdown. All right, Jimmy, this was a close game. So there's Athens getting on the boards. On the kickoff return, Carthage is going to run it back. That's Jace Harris. All the way to the... Where's he going? 3-yard line. All right. But we got a flag on the play. Flag on the play. What is it? We don't know. Jet Surratt passes it here to Junior Henderson for another Bulldogs touchdown. Halftime score 27-21. Carthage leading it. And okay, so Carthage does hang on, but what a fight from Athens. That's really impressive.
What a thrill. That's the game Carthage needed to win. They needed a game like that, like we talked about earlier.
They needed to feel somebody, kind of coming up behind them, right? What? Did they not?
Let's go to center and
We're
Bullard.
saying the same thing.
Out to Rough Rider Stadium in center. The Rough Riders hosting the Bullard Panthers. Love that mascot, man. He's a little creepy. We picked it up in the third quarter with the Rough Riders leading 28-13. Bullard has the ball. Quarterback Michael Skaggs is scrambling. What a throw. What a catch. Ball deep downfield. That's Xavier Austin is able to catch the ball there, take it in for the touchdown. Extra point is good. scores 28-20. Center just barely leading by 8. Then the ensuing kickoff. Jeremy Bluford takes the kick and then just takes off. Weaves through all the tackles. Look at that full purple uniform. That's a great uniform.
That is a
great look, great helmet. Looks even better when it's in the end zone, surrounded by all the rest of the purple and gold. Rough Riders 35, Panthers 20. Bullard ain't quite given up yet. Here's Mr. Skaggs tossing it to Josiah Johnson. Grabs the ball, dodges a Rough Rider, manages to tiptoe his way upfield a little bit before getting pushed out of bounds. Later on in that drive, Skaggs is going to drop back here, sees the opening, pulls the quarterback draw, dives into the end zone, tosses that ball off to the side, hits up his man here. 35-27 at this point. Where the final score there looks like 27 would be where it stayed for the Bullard Panthers. But Center pulling ahead there, picking out a good win, a hard-fought win.
Yeah, and good fight from Bullard. Hasn't been their year, but that's a good performance against a good Center team.
For sure. And Center, always kind of hanging around.
Yeah.
Right there. They have a new head coach as well. They're hovering around that 500 mark.
They're hovering. All right, folks, don't go anywhere. We got scores from all across East Texas when we return. Alrighty, folks, welcome back into Under the Lights Late Night. We got to show y'all a good amount of games. Not as many as we would have liked to, but can't always go your way.
We got to the other side.
We got there.
It was a bumpy ride.
Well, we haven't gotten
there
there yet. We're almost there. We got to show you all the scores from all across East Texas first. So let's go ahead and show up the graphic. Here we go. All right. At our site game, Kilgore downs Lindale 49-29 at our game of the week. Van over Gilmer 48-38. Longview destroys Tyler Legacy 63-20. Pine Tree over Henderson 49-21. Gladewater dominates Tatum 33-6. Troop all over New Diana 69-31. Chapel Hill hangs 75 on Maybank. And Nacogdoches improves to 6-1, 34-24 over White House.
How about them Dragons, baby? Next one for me, please. Commerce, Mineola dominates Mineola 64-12. Jacksonville beats Jacksonville 56-0. Brownsboro 14, Rusk 28.
That one's not over because I believe there was they were having technical difficulties there too. They were having light issues.
Yes.
That's why.
All across East Texas, we are just fighting for our lives out here. Bullard 27, Centered 44. Mr. Gorman, or Bishop Gorman, excuse me, 12.
Mr. Gorman.
Mr. Gorman. Yeah.
Mr. Gorman.
All Saints 49.
Athens
56. Carthage 61. Spring Hill 0. Pleasant Grove 6. 63. Oh my goodness.
That'll work.
Dangerfield 76. Whoa, 76. Wow.
Yeah.
Over Hooks 59.
A lot of high-scoring games tonight. All right, last one here, I promise. Atlanta takes down Liberty Ilo 33-19. Centennial Tyler High, after a great performance last week, they lose this week 42-25. Arp blanks Elkhart 53-0. Brook Hill over Grace Prep 47-21. Lufkin over Sterling 31-21. Pittsburgh, who lost to Gilmer last week. That's kind of why I was high on the Buckeyes this week. And they win this. Pittsburgh comes back to win this week, 45-22 over North Lamar. White Oak and Sabine. How about Sabine putting up a good fight? But White Oak comes out ahead, 41-34. And
Rough Riders.
last but not least, San Augustine Downs Garrison, 31-15.
Keep an eye on that Atlanta score. 33-19. They're still doing it, man. They're still doing it.
They're still doing their thing. Well, folks, thank you so very much for sticking with us tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for telling all your friends. And thanks for being the best.
Keep doing it. Stick around next week. I promise. We'll have it
Come
figured
back,
out.
please. Please come back next week. We'll see y'all then.